It's the sandwich. The sandwich is here.
We're on with the sandwich.
Woo! What is up, Tots? You are here with Sam O.
And Sam Preet.
And we're with a tale of two Sams, but we do have an Andrew Vecchio sandwich today.
Woo! We're very
Yay,
excited. This is our first guest of season 3.
Andrew is a photographer, filmmaker, travel enthusiast, model, co-founder of Feels Visual, and really has a lot of free time on his hands. So welcome, Andrew. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So photographer, filmmaker, like what is the everyday life of Andrew Vecchio?
I mean, most of all, it's pretty much finding work, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Right.
I transitioned from modeling to filmmaking, so I had the advantage of being able to use my contacts from modeling into transitioning into finding jobs as a filmmaker, and it's just not easy when you work for yourself as an independent filmmaker.
Yeah.
It's really hard to find work. It's you got to spend a lot of time networking and finding the right people to connect with to eventually just land that job. And but once you do, it's super exciting. You get to travel a lot and do what you love. So yeah.
I'm wondering what made you want to transition from in front of the camera to behind the camera.
Well, I never thought I would even be a model. So I got to New York City, and from one friend to the other, I ended up just signing a contract with the modeling agency. And after a few years, I realized, it's not necessarily what I want to do in life. And I didn't have a passion for photography or cinematography overall. And after talking to one of the photographers on set, he was just like, hey, this is the camera that I use. So I picked it up, and all of a sudden I was like, wow, this is actually pretty awesome. And from there, my interest just grew every day, and it just became a passion. And
When was this about? How many years?
that was about, I want to say 5 years ago.
Wow. It's been a journey ever since, huh?
It has. It's been very exciting. What the good part about transitioning, I think, was the fact of being in control of my career. As a model, you just pretty much go on casting calls, and it's just a waiting game. So you're just waiting for that. You're just hoping to get booked for the job, and there's not much else you can do. And the fact of being able to take control of my career, and there's an actual skill to learn and develop throughout cinematography. So
Right.
that felt very very good and fulfilling as an artist. And
I always think modeling is so interesting, because when I am put in front of a camera, I am like, oh, what now?
right.
I'm like, what? This is crazy. Yeah, some people it comes really natural for, and some it doesn't. And I'm just, I think it's interesting. And I think it has a lot to do with confidence.
It does, but the good part is that I had the experience being in front of the camera. So with the wrong photographer or wrong director, that doesn't make you comfortable or shows or transfers that vision that's meant to be shot. It's very easy to become very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So with that experience, I'm able to transfer it to my career and making the talent very comfortable with what he's supposed to do. So that helped me a lot. But I'm fairly shy. I've always been very shy, and being in modeling in New York City, coming from a small town in France, it was a big thing for me. So I learned a lot through modeling, and it helped me a lot transition, through cinematography and help the talents, give the best performance possible.
That's awesome. So I was actually going to bring it up. We heard your charming little accent. So we were like, oh, where's he from? France, but we're wondering what part of France, because I think Jess, our intern, obviously, reached out to you and got you to do this with us. So we're really appreciative to her. Shout out to her. And she gave us a little bit of background. I think she said right outside of Paris. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm about I grew up 30 minutes north of Paris, tiny little village,
A village. How cute.
I love that.
There were literally like 300 people in the village,
And now you're in Florida, right?
now I'm in Florida for a few
And
months,
and Tampa, right? So
Tampa.
let's go
Yeah.
Bucks.
Oh, Tampa.
Yeah.
We just spoke about that briefly before he got on. And then you were saying that you were in New York. Is there anywhere else that you've lived? It seems like you're just all over the place.
A
Yeah.
nomad.
I spent a year in Hawaii too.
Wow.
Casual. I just
Yeah.
spent a year in Hawaii.
I just like stopped by for a year but yeah, pretty much I grew up in France, moved to New Jersey, and then lived a year in Hawaii, came back to New York, and now I'm in Tampa for a few months, and no idea where I'm gonna be in a few months. It's just.
Would you say that you like the excitement of moving around a lot and kind of starting fresh somewhere new, or do you mostly just do it because your job kind of requires it?
For now, I do enjoy it. I'm a Gemini. I like the constant change. I get bored very easily, so I like.
We love a guy into horoscopes. Love that.
Yeah.
Are you
But,
also into love languages? Because we spoke about that on I think it was like our season finale or something, like one of our last episodes of season 2. Have you looked into that yet?
a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Just know, just the spectrum of it, but
Mm-hmm.
not so much per se.
Yeah, sometimes they tie in, right? Like the horoscope, the love language, like they're like, I don't know, that's what they say. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, usually when I start dating a girl, I'm like, okay, what's your horoscope? I can see on Google if it's a good match or not. But that's pretty much how far it goes,
Right. Pretty surface level.
That's fair. I don't do that until we're breaking up, and then I'm like, were we a good match? And then it'll be like, no, you weren't a good match with a Cancer, and I'll be like, well, see, that's why. And it's a little it's okay, Sam, you did good,
Not the 1,000 other reasons why we didn't work. No, just the fact that we're, our horoscopes are not the same.
Yeah.
Right.
Now
we're
we're
compatible.
So that's awesome. Okay, so what was the coolest place that you traveled, or lived?
I want to say the coolest place was probably Patagonia.
Cool.
I went to Patagonia for a week with my business partner, and it's just the fact of being completely at the opposite side of the world. And we drove, so it was a over 30+ hour flight just to get there.
Wow.
And we had to drive another 5 hours to get to our camp where we were supposed to shoot. And for the 5 hours that we drove there, we didn't see a single house, a single person, nothing.
Oh my God.
It was, yeah. I mean, I had a lot of trust, I guess, in our tour guide, but the fact of being excluded from the world, of barely any service, so you just have to take in whatever is there and appreciate the beauty of what's in front of you without any comparing it to what's in front of your face on social media all the time.
Yeah,
it was a very grounding experience, and I think that's definitely was one of my favorite trips. Yeah.
That was recently?
That was a year and a half ago.
Wow.
And I definitely want to go back, and I'm trying to get contact again and with the people over there and shoot some more. And
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
There's so many parts in Patagonia that are unexplored and uncharted. And
right.
There's I'm very excited and keen to go back.
Yeah, when you shoot there, is it something that you do for a larger company, or is it something that somebody in Patagonia was like, oh, I'll hire Andrew Vecchio, or feels visual, So I just always I'm so curious about that. Was it you were shooting with I don't know, The Rock with his new tequila out there? You know what I mean? I don't know why that popped in my head, but I love tequila.
Actually, so when I was modeling, I did a couple shoots in Mexico with this PR agency called En Route Communications. And I once I transferred to cinematography, I told them, and this is what I do now. And if you ever have any clients that would like some video work, whatever, just don't hesitate to reach out. So through them, I was able to land that contract with that company in Patagonia. So once again, it all tied in again with my previous experience in modeling contacts there.
Networking, right?
I was taking a look at your Instagram and just some of the photos that you've posted and things that you've shot. Would you say that I felt like it was a lot of nature, outdoorsy
Landscape.
Yeah. Is there something about that that just gets you going? Like, what draws you to that type of
I
art?
think it's just the unknown of just going out there. You don't have necessarily something in mind that you want to shoot, and you just look for something beautiful that catches your eye, and you're just gonna shoot it. And that's what I love with photography is that most of our times in the day, we rush through our daily jobs, and we just don't pay attention to so many things that are in front of our face that are so beautiful.
Yeah.
So the fact of just going out there and just trying to really focus on like what's in front of me is what drives me to just I really like landscape photography because first of all I travel a lot through it, so that's
right.
a good part, but the other one is just it's this natural beauty that's all around us that most people don't take the time to really just appreciate. And
yeah
well, I feel like
True.
when I travel, that's always something that I'm reminded of. I recently went to Sedona, and I was just like, I can't believe I'm so impressed by just rocks, like just mountains. Like I'm just, they're so beautiful. And then I think of the millions of other places that I haven't seen yet. And I know Sam has it too, but why am I blanking? Oh, Wanderlust. Yeah.
Yeah. We're definitely a bit wanderlust, and it's been a really cool experience. Something that I admire about like your career and like your career paths that you've chosen is that you've allowed yourself to have that type of opportunity where like for me, I work at, a media company, and they're based here, and they're, and I travel a bit with them, but it's like, all right, before the pandemic, obviously, all right, I'm going to go to Europe for 10 days. Oh, well, that's all my vacation days. So that's it for the year. I can't just uproot. So it's kind of cool. And I've always like found that to be a really great thing about like being an entrepreneur, like being self-made, is that you have like your own agenda, and like you're figuring out your life. Like, you're not being told by the big guy, like you're staying right here and you're doing this. So, have fun with
it. It's very exciting, but it's also a lot of pressure on yourself because if you don't do the work, you have nothing.
You don't get paid.
Yeah, pretty much. You're broke.
Yeah.
So, but the fact of working for yourself, I think there's no better boss than yourself.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And it's exciting. It's a lot of pressure, and it's just fun overall. It's just discover your own passions, and throughout that process, you see that you discover new interests throughout this pressure you put on yourself, and it's an exciting journey overall.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you're like our idol as far as like traveling. So let's get into your love life, shall we? No.
So yeah. We are at the end of the day, relationship, social life podcast, but we like to give the people what they want.
Yeah.
So something because you have such a demanding job, I guess you're always traveling. Have you had any issues with like maintaining maybe a girlfriend, or like, do you think long-term relationships could ever work if you're traveling a lot?
At this point, I don't know. I've since I've started my career, I've been single actually the whole time. So I've been really focused on my career overall, and I definitely miss the relationship aspect. It's something that I feel like it's missing in my life, but I'm hoping to be able to find somebody that's going to be able to like tag along with me or have a flexible schedule to make it work. But it is definitely challenging, having to move from one place to the other all the time and not settle and build a very solid relationship.
But I have to tell you, Andrew, I don't think you're a tough sell, so we'll work on that for you. Yeah. But it's kind of cool though, because now that
you heard it here first, ladies.
So the pandemic is making this kind of interesting. As you're saying that, I'm sitting there going, well, imagine it wasn't a pandemic. Like, imagine like meeting somebody and really falling for them, and this person has to go into the office every day, where there's like, what is it, like 70% of the country is working from home. like, this must have like opened so many doors for you, and maybe this is like your time to shine.
It's actually a good perspective on things that I haven't seen. The fact of like, that most people now actually work from home, it frees up a lot of like, constraint that you might have had before. So
Yeah.
Me and Sam, we were living in Colorado for the month of January just because we have that opportunity. Like we're working remotely. So it's like, I think about it. If I had a guy that had a job like that because of the pandemic, it would be just work wherever because it's like, it's crazy. I feel like it's definitely important to acknowledge the positive things out of COVID.
So, I mean, I guess this kind of leads into like, you said you haven't had a relationship, but have you fell in love ever and then like had an opportunity that you couldn't pass up, so you couldn't like go and had that love story that we all long for like when we're traveling, or like is that in the books, in the movies?
it is, actually my last serious relationship that I had was my first love. And and this is actually when I started to work as a cinematographer and start traveling a lot more. But because I'm a very devoted person, so I sacrificed a lot of my career for her at the time, which put too much pressure on her shoulders,
Yeah.
And this is what actually ended up just ending things between us. Is the fact of it's just a hard compromise to do between the fact of spending time with her or spending time away. And so I chose to sacrifice too much by my own career, which put too much pressure on her, and it just didn't work out that way. So that was my my overall last relationship.
So that probably like plays into it, right?
Yeah.
It plays into why like, you don't even want to get like attached at this point.
It's hard, to devote yourself to someone when you have such like a very irregular schedule, and I don't feel like it's fair to the person to be able to like, try to like build a relationship unless it's like very upfront and we communicate a lot about the fact of like, okay, this is it, and like we're ready for it. And but like
it sounded like you were like still trying to figure things out at that point, and then it became like okay, well, all right, this is something that I have an opportunity to, where like that might have not been the case when you first started dating. So it's scary because like we are like, I mean, I don't know exactly how old you are, and if you want to tell us, you can.
27.
27. Okay, I was gonna say like mid 20s, like early 20s probably at the time, and like it is a time to be selfish in our lives. But it's hard
100%.
because like you want to find love and you want to like, be with somebody and you want to like appreciate this person and what they're doing. And at the same time, you want to be like, well, what about me? Like, are you appreciating me? Like, So
and the hard thing is, whenever I go back to France, over there, life is a lot slower. So at 27, everybody's already married and have kids. And I'm here, like, in New York City, it's a whole different lifestyle.
It's so different. But, even where me and Sam are from, we're from Staten Island, New York. So technically it is New York City. It's a borough, but it's very the same, where I have a ton of friends who are my age, 25, 26, and are engaged or married or have kids. And I think it's important to not compare because everyone's like totally on a different track. And I always struggle with, even starting this podcast, I felt like, is this going to be a thing that affects my relationships?
Right.
Because we talk about a lot of things very openly that a lot of maybe guys would not love that their girlfriend is talking about openly. But, it's like, grow up. We're adults here. This is a career. And it's like, you're either going to accept it or not. I feel like it kind of goes similar with yours.
Yeah, I think for me, it's until you're able to really feel satisfied about who you are and where you are in life, this is where you're going to be able to finally have a constructive relationship with anybody else. So
Right,
exactly.
you have to be face your own self and accept the decisions you make, but don't, definitely, like you said, don't compare yourself to anybody else and try to like fulfill anybody's shoes. And
right.
So true.
And you kind of want that person at the end of the day. I think like, when we're younger, we're like worried about like, oh, like who's the I don't know if we like really thought this like up front, but I know that like I definitely was like more worried about like what they looked like, what their job was, you know, what they, you know, than like how they were like making me feel specifically. And now I start thinking to myself, like, especially like, I think like with the podcast, like, and I'm sure like with your traveling and such, like different obstacles, but still obstacles, is like, all right, well, if it's like worth it, we'll make it work. Like if it's, I want somebody that's going to accept me to like, to be this like wanderlust person, right, for your situation. And I want somebody that's going to accept me for being the outspoken, fun person that I am. So you need to like kind of weigh out your options and realize, you know, what's like, what is your priorities, and then hopefully you find somebody that accepts them. But anyway, that was deep. So
we're getting so deep tonight.
Yeah, right, Andrew, you're making us sweat. Usually the other way around. So okay, let's say this is a lighter one, right? Are you, sir, in the Mile High Club?
Do you know what that is?
He's like,
see, this is where I use a French card.
Okay. Okay. Are you really pleading the fifth on this, or do you really not know?
No, I don't. Okay. I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay, so Mile High Club is like basically having sex on a plane, like in a bathroom.
I had my time, you know.
Right.
I had since I couldn't devote myself to a serious relationship, I was like, you know what? Well, there's other options. So
interesting. Yes.
You know, I had my time, always with respect, obviously, you know. But
yes.
Yeah, I think I'm past this now, and I think I'm looking towards something a little bit more serious. But yeah.
Right. But listen, everyone, you know, I think that it's like important to like get it out now. Otherwise, we're going to be like 40, ready to divorce our significant other and sleep with a neighbor, like 20 years younger. This is not a fantasy.
Why do you think so many people that are older now are divorced? It's because they didn't live their best lives before.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I guess that could, maybe you'd want to tell us a crazy traveling, dating, sex-capade story.
Oh, wait. He has wine. We should take a sip break.
Oh, my gosh. Sip break.
Tequila, actually.
Oh, tequila?
Yes.
Is that reposado?
Indeed it is.
That's hardcore.
Love that.
Like,
it's been a long day.
So sip break, guys. Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I think everyone else took a sip break besides me. I'm just trying to get Andrew drunk. That's why. No, I'm sure.
We got a long way to go.
Would you say that you have built up a high tolerance of alcohol with all your traveling? And
I think New York City.
In New York City. Okay. Yeah. Love that. Would you say dating in New York City or like New York City girls are different than any other girls you've dated?
I feel like New York, everybody's just focused on their career. So it's just like everybody's just having a fun time, you know. I never really find anyone that was like, okay, yeah, I want to settle and have a family. No, everybody's just there for their work and their career, and like whatever happens. But after this, it's just okay, back to reality.
Yeah.
Which I would rather be in a place to meet actually people that are more towards. I want to have a family and kids, and
right.
So for me, it was like a little hard to find that in New York, and hopefully being out there in Florida. I mean, maybe not Florida. I don't know.
There's some characters out in Florida.
You didn't get off that easy. Is there any crazy stories? What's your craziest story from traveling or work or anything?
I mean, I'm not sure. Everything has been pretty smooth though.
Okay.
Yeah. Not so much in relationships, but for work though, yeah, pretty smooth.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Right? That's not bad then.
Knock on wood now.
Is your family still in France?
So my mom is still in France. My mom is French. My dad is American. So my mom's in France. All of my mom's side of the family is in France. And my dad is in Jersey. And all my dad's side of the family is in the US. My uncle is in Hawaii. This is why I lived there for a year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
One of our best friends is from Hawaii. I'm dying to go there. It looks absolutely beautiful.
Mm-hmm. You know which island?
What is it? Oahu?
Oahu?
Oahu. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice there. It's a little bit more like city city. Like
Where were you living?
I was in Big Island, which was cool because you still have the city aspect of it, but it's still kind of remote. So
Would you
but
say
it was-
you're more of like you're more inclined to travel to warmer places, being able to,
oh
you know,
yeah,
hike and surf or yeah,
yeah, warmer. As much as I love snowboarding and skiing,
yeah,
if I'm gonna go on a travel destination, I'm gonna pick the warmer weather for sure. Yeah,
totally. Like we were
then I
saying, we just
can, you
stepped
know.
out there.
Definitely, yeah.
I mean, it's wild. I never thought that like I would at all appreciate cold weather. And
Mhm.
now I realize that I really don't unless I'm like
So,
skiing or snowboarding. Like
yeah.
that's fun to me.
Yeah.
Like the rest, I'm like, no. New York,
Yeah.
like cold, it's not the same, you know?
You know, the
Not
funny
for
part
me.
is when I lived in Hawaii, obviously it's pretty much summer all year long there. And after a year, as surprisingly as it was, I actually missed seasons.
Really?
Yeah.
See,
It's
I
like
don't
when
know if
it's
I
like the
would.
same weather all year long, you somehow kind of get tired of it.
Yeah.
And that helped me appreciate, okay, it's fall, so I'm gonna, winter is around the corner, blah, blah, blah. But okay, when I came back a year later, I was like, okay, I'm sick of this. I want to go back to Hawaii. And
Yeah. It's
yeah.
just like sometimes it's so cold that like my face hurts. And I'm just like, why am I living somewhere that hurts my face?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
why do I want to be in pain if I don't have to be?
Yeah. I mean, I
So
think
cold.
I think you might like, Florida in the sense of weather because like at least Tampa, because my sister it's like there are seasons,
Mhm.
but the seasons are like, oh, throw on a light sweater at night. Like not like bundle your ass up. Like, I was,
Mhm.
when I was there this past week, I was wearing like leather leggings and a sweater to go to dinner. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that was enough. I didn't have to like put on that
Yeah,
kind
that's how far it goes. Just yeah.
So do you have a traumatic or funny by chance, or could you not really like think of one?
It's pretty mild.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
All
All right,
right.
let's hear your traumatic or funny, Andrew.
I guess so when I was back in France, my first real girlfriend I was probably 17, 18.
Okay.
And yeah, so we were together on and off for 4 years, but she kept getting more and more, I want to say, obsessed. So seeing
no.
that happen, I was trying to take some distance, and we had a lot of friends in common. So whenever she was trying to ask me where I was and let's meet up, so I would just say, I'm hanging out with friends, blah blah blah. But she knew where I lived, so she would
Always a
just
bad idea. Let your girlfriend know where you live. Don't do that.
yeah, no. So she would just park across the street from where I lived and would spy on me. So whenever I would tell her like,
What the
"I'm out
hell?
with friends," she would text me like, "I can see you. You're in your room." Like she would like see me through my window.
Oh no.
And yeah, and she would just ask a lot of times. She would ask my friends, "What are you guys doing?" Because she knew we were hanging out together. So she would ask my friends what we were doing, so she could actually show up out of nowhere where I
No.
was with my friends and just like, just confront me right away. And so she kind of forced this relationship into a point where I was just, I'm done. And it
Oh my
lasted
God.
a long time afterwards to really kind of like cut things off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an interesting experience to have this kind of like, someone clinged on you that much. I felt bad, because I didn't want to like hurt her, but at the same time, she was doing that to herself too. So I
Right.
wasn't sure how to end it.
No, I actually have a serious question for you right here. Pick
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Do you guys have restraining orders in France, or
That's a good
really
question.
should have gotten one? I'm scared of this
I
one.
feel like it's I feel like it's a much more popular thing in the US than
Oh my
Yeah, I
God.
was like
maybe
partially kidding, but maybe you guys really should utilize that more.
maybe we should actually.
I definitely think that this is like borderline trauma.
Yeah.
It
Borderline
was.
traumatic.
I
Just
was getting
because
almost like a little scared, like, just I wasn't sure. Like I would go to sleep. I would come back to my place. I was just, is she here? You know?
Oh my God.
No.
At that point, you probably didn't want to say anything too hurtful to her, or like even
Yeah.
not even hurtful, but just like, could you please leave me alone? Just
Right.
probably scared of like if she would
I-
lose it even more.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't want to
Yeah.
trigger her.
I
Yeah.
was afraid for her.
That's upsetting.
It is.
Yeah.
I was kind of like stuck in this situation where I tried to end things in a smooth way, but she was pushing me to kind of like cut it very harshly.
Right. Right.
But I wasn't sure about the consequences of just
Your
ending it
actions,
that way.
not her
So,
actions.
yeah. So yeah, but despite it all, we still remain friends. We still,
Really
yeah. I
So-
think friends in a way of like,
cordial.
yeah, cordial.
Do you ever
It-
like joke about it? Like now, like that she's like.
I
old
still
and
don't
adult?
really want to bring it up.
Okay.
You never know if it's gonna like spike up something in her. So
Oh my God. Is she gonna
That's
listen to
fair.
this?
no,
Probably.
she's
She was
friends.
like
She
in
has
his
no idea
bedroom
who it
last
is.
night.
So
I like our intern just messaged us and said that is not safe, sane, or sexy, which I have to agree with.
That's our
Yeah.
our little tagline. We like to just tell people you got to stay safe, sane, and sexy in these times, and that's it.
well,
That's
I
not
am
the way you do
safe, sane, and sexy.
We can vouch.
it. You are.
I'll try to.
Is that a blush? Look at him. He's
Look at him,
blushing.
he's
Oh
blushing.
Lord.
So I'm gonna vote and say that is that's traumatic because I think that it might have affected you getting into a relationship
It
in the
did.
future.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
So I would vote traumatic. Sam,
I would also vote traumatic. Yeah.
Andrew, you also vote traumatic.
Indeed, I do.
You have traumatized us, sir. We must say goodbye. No.
That much? Wow. Okay.
End of interview. See ya.
It's a wrap. Got it.
That's a wrap.
He knows that. He's a filmmaker.
Yep, because he's a filmmaker. In case you guys couldn't see, because we're on a podcast, he did like the what's that thing called?
Clapboard.
Yeah, the clapboard. Yeah,
Clapboard, yeah.
That
I always wanted to do that.
It's cool. It's a good feeling when you just clap it like this. It's pretty good
You're like,
feeling.
and
Action.
scene, a marker. Yeah, a marker.
Like
Yeah,
you have so much control over the movie. Like I dictate when you start, when you end. It's like,
yeah, right.
yeah.
Little director, you. No.
So
Well, thank you so much, Andrew. I
Thank you.
cannot thank you enough for this interview. It was fun. It was insightful. It was deep. It was sexy.
it was sane, safe, and sexy. Love it.
Thanks. Well, that was fun. That
So-
was my first podcast, and thank you guys for having me.
I actually have one more closing question for you.
Mhm.
What's next for you? Do you want to like make a movie? Is that on your bucket
Yeah.
list?
Yeah, I'm still working with my business partner, and we are directing ourselves more towards feature movies.
Awesome.
So hopefully you'll see some you'll get to see some of the movies that we directed and shot on the big screen, and
Yeah, that's
yeah, it'll be
awesome.
fun. Yeah.
I'm gonna manifest that for you, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
manifest for myself being one of your starring actress in Patagonia on a beach. Thank you for hiring me, Andrew. Pleasure doing a
Anytime.
podcast.
Just write that down. Write
You
that
write
down.
that down. He's
that she's hired.
Recorded. But thank you so much. Seriously, this has been a lot of fun, and we do hope to talk to you soon. Anytime you want to come back on once your film is released, we'll have you back on, promoted on here, right?
Sounds
To work
awesome.
together that way.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you.